Hello everyone, so welcome to a new week again. We are picking up on the BMW straight away off the back of last week's video. BM has been polyed, all the filler work's been done, spray poly, it's had 2 rounds of that, obviously all sanded in between, taking care of any imperfections as best as we can. And we are now going into our 385 epoxy, which is a wet on wet product. So it just sandwiches in and encapsulates all of the porous filler work with a waterproof membrane. Because it's a wet on wet, we've got 15 to 20 minutes worth of flash time and then back on with our high build primer. That's going to be the last stage for this one, obviously the sanding work after that, to block it all down one more time. And at that stage, we really don't want to see any more breakthroughs. On this, to be fair, we've only got a couple of very, very small areas. So it's looking as good as we can make it. Yeah, 385 epoxy into the high build, one more block. We'll be ready to mask it up properly then for the paintwork. Almost there. Let's get cracking for the week. BM's blocked down for the last time, just doing the last final bits and pieces to it now. 500 on the DA interface pad, refine all the sanding structures that we've put in there with the 400 on the block. Be into the booth ready for paint then. I'm in the 4th unit briefly. We don't normally do any work in here, but the other units are flat out busy with other things at the moment, so I just thought I'd briefly fill you in on what we're up to. BMW is good to go, so that's going to be in paint tomorrow afternoon. But at the moment, what I'm doing is just prepping the Jag bonnet and the boots. Reason being, we can then flip those over, paint the underside of those two things tomorrow alongside believe it or not, we've got a golf buggy in the shop at the moment, and also the back of the BMW boot lid. So 3 different colours going on to start with, but save space. We like to get things done when we can, get things all in the booth in one go for things like that. So yeah, first bit of colour going on the Jag. BMW will be completely painted tomorrow, and the golf buggy in the middle of everything as well. But yeah, you guys have seen enough of sanding. I'm not going to hyperlapse this, but next thing you see will probably be all of the parts loaded up into the booth, ready to go. Alright, that's the wet on wet done. So we've got 3 different shades, as I mentioned. P3, 4 and 5. Indigo blue for the Jag pieces. BMW boot, sorry, is just going a straight black. This is just flashing off at the moment still. And then these are actually going Mazzano red, same colour as my cars. That's what the customer wanted on this one. She saw the cars and decided that was the colour for her for the golf buggy. So yeah, 3 different colours. Jag first, BMW next. This one, last of all. I'll mask them up to Jag first and then lay a sheet of paper over the top to stop any overspray getting on them. Work my way down the booth, and then everything gets uncovered and all cleared at the same time. That's a long old morning in the booth done for now. Tig's golf buggy parts have come out really nice. Bearing in mind, I don't think I got any before photos of these, but they were in very, very poor condition. My goodness, they must have had 5 or 6 layers worth of paint on there, and each individual layer was pretty much flaking off and peeling, really not in good condition at all. So bearing in mind this is, let's say, just a golf buggy, they come out lovely. So Tig's done a really good job on these. Very, very happy with those. Back of the BMW boot is nice. I've kind of given the game away as to what colour that one's going now. And obviously the Jag panels, they've come out nice as well, as nice as can be expected for a rear end. Back panels, as it were, lovely colour. Again, giving the game away with this bit, Jaguar indigo blue. So obviously quite a few imperfections in the middle there. That is just from the rust, bit of pissing on the rust side of things, where that was obviously removed from the dipping process. But again, we haven't concerned ourselves with that too much, because this entire piece here is going to be covered. You can see from that lip inwards is all covered by a big old rubberized sheet or whatever it is. But obviously we've made sure the outside bits, the bits that are going to be visible, it's all looking lovely down there. So yeah, I know sometimes we do concentrate on the things which we know are hidden anyway. In this instance, it's just a waste of time. That will be totally hidden. It's extra hours and hours worth to get that looking nicer than it is. Whereas we've really just done it for the protection side of things. In all honesty, we didn't even need to paint that, because like I said, it's completely hidden. So yeah, we have anyway. But everything's looking lovely. So I think personally this colour's really going to suit the car. It's a more modern colour, shall we say, but it's not out there. It's a classy dark blue, isn't it? So I think that's going to really suit the look of the car. On to the next. Gapping the Skyline. So obviously we did the work on the arches before. You guys have seen that in the last video. Just put the door catches and seals on the doors. Got the doors lining up nicely. Get the rear quarters on there where they need to be. We'll start prepping that then for epoxy. I'll go over that in the next stage.
I'm really on fire tonight. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm doing whatever now. Ain't got no time to fight. I'm talking way too loud. And if you don't like the sound, you could just tune it out. Who you rooting for? They say whatever team that'll win. I say cool, cause it's gonna be whichever one I'm in. Yeah, I'm good like that. Yeah, I'm good like that. Who you rooting for? They say whatever team that'll win. I say cool, cause it's gonna be whichever one I'm in. Yeah, I'm good like that. Yeah, I'm good like that. Telling you that I might never go to sleep, stay up all night, doing just what I like.
We spent a while getting the rear quarter where I want it to be. So as you can see, it's all in its final position now. It's not in place fully, but it is fixed into position. So we've got about 25 techs or so just holding this panel into position for now. I'll explain more in that in the coming videos or so. Yeah, important ones for something like this, body lines. So body line on the door, we spent a while making sure that the door was in the right place and gapping all that up. Door needs to match the quarter. Obviously the window recesses need to be exact. They're not yet, we haven't trimmed them yet, but they are getting there. To be completely honest, also things like this, although it's flared out down here, that doesn't matter at this stage. I'm going to cut this corner off. In any case, there's some trimming work to do on that. But actually the side skirts that we've got for this one, although it's a wide arch kit, the side skirts, it's going to work really well for us. So yeah, in all honesty, it's not giving us too many issues at the moment, which is kind of a surprise for something like this, because they normally throw up all sorts of things. I'm sure it will further down the process, but at the moment, it's going pretty well. So can't complain about this one too much. We had a bit of a scare over the other side, because put this quarter panel on, and it just did not fit. The clearance was totally and utterly wrong on this wheel. So we've actually spent quite a long time. I think this has got more than 25 techs in it. But yeah, we spent a while on trying to get this panel to fit. And it now does, thank goodness. We've had the wheels back on. It's got plenty of clearance, but we were worried at one point. It just wasn't working. It just wasn't going on nicely for us at all. But yeah, we've managed to make that work. It's even to the other side now. That's the most important thing for me. There was one stage where I thought I had it on there, but it just wasn't quite even, and yeah, that's obviously not the right way to do things. So managed to do it. Both sides are pretty much exact now. The fuel filler cap gave us a few problems, so we've just trimmed that off, cut all that off entirely. I will re-glass that myself now because it just wasn't lining up nicely. So we will obviously just glass that together, make our own little fiberglass mold there, because I've got a lot more fiberglassing work to do on the rest of the car anyway. Yeah, it gives you now a bit of impression as to what this car is going to look like. It is difficult to see on the camera as well. I had a massive smile on my face earlier because this is the first time we've put these on and been able to keep them on without anything holding them on in place. Obviously the text, but we had lots of yellow tape and stuff before. But yeah, this time I walked out of the unit, looked back at it, and it just looks absolutely incredible. This is right up my street, car like this. And these wide arches, you get a bit of a sense of what this car is going to look like when it's all said and done now. Yep, next one for this. These panels are coming back off. I'll prep them, get them into the booth, epoxy, go into more detail in that side of things in a second. Yeah, let's whip these back off now. Bit more trimming work, go from there. Loaded up, prepped, ready for the next few stages. It was a few seconds ago absolutely pouring down with rain outside, which, funnily enough, is part of the reason why we do things like this. So these are going into epoxy next. I think it's one of those stages which is very, very frequently overlooked by other body shops. Potentially they just don't know about it or don't feel like doing it, save, cost cutting in terms of money, don't know. But I know this is not necessarily something that all body shops would do. It's definitely something that we do here. As far as I'm concerned, it's a really, really important stage of the process as well. So you wouldn't put a brand new steel panel onto a car without treating the inside of it. It's exactly the same with fiberglass. Fair enough, you're not leaving yourself to corrosion or anything like that you would be with metal, but what you do have, if you look at any Lotus, TVR, any fiberglass car of that sort of period, you're potentially going to notice on the ones which haven't been looked after particularly well in any case, micro blisters, all sorts of bubbling, that sort of thing. So very frequently that is caused by moisture getting through into the gel coat. Moisture comes from this side of the panel, goes through the fiberglass, works its way out. Obviously, once it starts working its way out of the gel coat, which is the black, you're going to have all sorts of issues, bubbling, problems with your paint. Paint obviously sits on top of this, so anything that's coming through, very, very similar to a steel corrosion panel in terms of just moisture and everything going through it, and then obviously presenting itself like that. So yeah, for us, incredibly important to seal these panels in for the next stage. So just 2 layers we're going for of our epoxy. That's going to seal it all in, protect it from the elements. Obviously we're going to have epoxy on the front to sandwich it in eventually, but that will come after all the bodywork's been done to it. So hopefully these are going to last for a very, very, very long time. They're not the best of fiberglass, very, very thin, but that should help us out for the next few stages. It'll hinder us a little bit as well from certain aspects, but I'll get more into that when we get them back on the car and show you what that's all about. But for now, seal it all up, make sure that no water is going to go through. Epoxy is obviously a waterproof membrane, waterproof barrier, so yeah, seal it up from the inside. I'm going to tape off this edge, you'll see in a second where the holes are with the tech screws. I'm going to tape all of that off. That's for the panel bond. Panel bond bonds to fiberglass, doesn't necessarily bond to epoxy, it's not in the TDS. So just to be safe, we will tape that up, but that will have a layer of the panel bond then to protect it as well. So it'll all be fully protected on the inside. Yeah, 2 layers of epoxy, 5-minute flash in between. Let's get that on now. .3M panel bond on the Skyline. So I believe the TDS says we've got to let this sit for 4 hours now before we can take the text out. It's actually going to sit overnight. There's no point in moving it around now. I've got no need to move it into another unit. If you upset the bond in the first few hours, then it won't re-cure. It won't. It's not something that can reseal itself. So it's best to just let it sit here undisturbed. But yeah, 4 hours, well, overnight. Text come out, and then we'll obviously fiberglass the edges, grind it all back. That'll be in next week's video. But yeah, we'll be grinding the edges back essentially and fiberglassing the join properly with proper fiberglass matting, not fiber paste or anything like that, because that it does eventually sink. So yeah, we're doing this one right, but that's on there now. That's never going to come back off. Messy old process, expensive too, but it's the best stuff for it. That's me done on the BMW for now. So this is as much as we're going to do on the masking side of things. I've left the arches open, I've left the front end a little bit open on purpose, just because we need to get in and to the back end of these pieces to get the paint up there as well. Done some stone guarding on the front end and sealant work, seam seal in the areas where it needs to be, stone guard on the arches as well. As you probably saw earlier, I think I took some videos. Seam sealant on the doors, etc. So I'll be back in later on tonight. I'm going to drop the boys off at home, be back in later tonight to do some wet on wet. So the car will be black by the end of the working day. Well, it's already the end of the working day, but it'll be black by the end of the day today with the wet on wet, and then be back in tomorrow to get it into colour, hopefully, final colour. Catch you tonight, see how we get on. That's the wet on wet done. Gives you a bit of an idea of what it's going to look like. This is not the final finish, of course. This is just the wet on wet primer. This is the last panel that I did, hence it's still a little bit glossy. When it starts drying, let me just squeeze past here. It's a bit of a tight booth at the moment. Yeah, when it starts drying, it goes to sort of a more matte finish. I started this car on this side first. Used a slow reducer as well, so it's taken a little while to dry off, which is exactly what I wanted. It gives me a bit of time to go around the whole car. Yeah, it gives you a bit of an idea what it's going to look like. So far, it's looking pretty good. So, like I said, it does look patchy at the moment. but obviously it's because it's in mid-drying stages. Some of it's dry, some of it's semi-dry, some of it's still completely soaking wet. So, yeah. I think I mentioned before, with the wet and wet that we use with Noble, we've got 7 days now before I need to do anything with this in terms of scuffing it. So I can leave this for up to 7 days, just come back in and panel wipe, and away we go. I think I'm most probably going to be painting it on Sunday or first thing Monday morning when Tig's back in. It's a big old car, big job. It's just a lot easier when Tig's around. We'll see. It's, yeah. I think that's where I'm going to leave it, guys, for now. I've got more than enough footage for the week's video. As always, hope you've enjoyed. We'll probably fire straight back into this one on the next video. So we'll catch you then. Have a good one.